Yeah. Back, it's Renzo. It's Renzo again. Yeah. We're back. Yeah. What we doing? Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Okay? Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Yeah. It's harder to work for yourself than punch the clock. Yeah, here's why. Working for yourself, you're always working. Why? Because you're working for yourself. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to script nothing out, so I might mess up and say certain things. But yeah, working for yourself is like, you're always working. You're constantly working. When you work for an employee, you go in for 8, 9 hours, 10 hours, work, 10 hours, done, you go home. 4 or 5 days out of the week, sometimes 6 days. Working for yourself, somebody calling. Working for yourself, it's not like that. It's definitely not like that. It's always working. And you got to do everything for yourself. You got to make sure you put aside money for this. You got to make sure you put aside money for that. You got to make sure you put aside money for those. You got to make sure you put aside money for everything. You got to do all your bookings yourself versus when you're working a 9 to 5. You know what I mean? Because guess what? The reason why you got to put aside money for this, especially if you're doing something that's operating, it needs maintenance. It needs certain things to keep the job, keep whatever you're got going. You know what I mean? So you got to be conscious. So it's kind of like you're always broke too. But you do have money, but you're always broke. You keep money and you keep the operation keep going. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? It's a lot. And it depends on what you're doing as well. But you gotta be, it's a lot. You gotta love it. First of all, you have to love what you're doing. You can't just get up and say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. You know what I mean? And I work for myself. Yeah, it sounds cool. You know what I mean? Because in some instance, some people like 9 to 5. A lot of people don't like that responsibility. You know what I mean? It's just like a lot of people like, oh, why don't you get a house? Why are you renting? You know what I mean? That's kind of like the same example. That's definitely kind of like the same example. You know what I mean? Yeah. Battery was dying. Yeah, that's kind of like the same example. You really gotta, like I said, you gotta love what you're doing. You gotta get up and do it every day. There's no days off. You know what I mean? There's really no days off. You know what I mean? There's in between times where, you could get up and say you're not going to do it, but guess what? You're gonna fall behind a day. You know what I mean? It's tough. It sounds like glitz and glamour. Oh, I'm my own boss. I'm my own boss. I do whatever I want to do and whatever. But you do that. You see what happens. You're back on the 9 to 5. I promise you. I'm not asking. I promise you. You are back doing your 9 to 5. Because it comes with so much responsibilities. Plus, if you got employees, you got to manage over them. It's so much things to this thing. It's not even funny. You got supplies. You got to keep an account for all of those. You know what I mean? Plus, you got to pay taxes. You know what I mean? You do your own taxes. I mean, and you want to do it right. You want to write off as much things as you can. You get me? A lot of people don't even understand that part of it as well. You know what I mean? So you have to know these things. You have to understand these things. You can't just think, yeah, I'm gonna just quit my job and I'm gonna do a 9 to 5 like some of these people on YouTube. Oh, I'm going to just quit my job and I'm going to just, work for myself. And it sounds great. It sounds great. First of all, you need, like I said, you need to find something that you really like doing. Once you find that, something that you would do without even making any money, and you won't be mad or upset. You gotta know how to manage money. You can't be a frivolous person. You get what I'm saying? You can't. That's just that. You can't be what's the word I'm looking for? Impulsive when it comes to buying stuff and stuff like that. Sometimes you gotta deprive yourself. Believe it. It gets tough. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've been doing it for years now. You know what I mean? Yeah, it definitely feels good. It definitely feels good, but sometimes it gets stressing. You know what I mean? But to me personally, the excitement is good. Like, the ups and downs sometimes, because man, I get so much ups and downs. A lot of things be happening and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I gotta keep starting over. But but listen, man. You gotta take your time. You gotta have a plan of escaping the 9 to 5. You have to. That's how you're gonna make it. You know what I mean? You gotta have a plan, set a plan. You know what I mean? At least a year time. Like, yo, I'm gonna leave this job while I'm doing my side gig. You get what I'm saying? So that's what you gotta do. Like, share, subscribe. Renzo Talk. Like, share, and subscribe. Renzo Talks. Yeah, I'm out.